like we said, Kyrie Irving had 15 points last night. And I'm sure a lot of people are jumping to this, asking whether or not Kyrie Irving is enough. I think the obvious answer is no, right? And that's not... This is his defining moment, like JP going to the Wizards. Will he sink or swim? He's good now, but could be great. He is very close. I agree, man. And Luka, this decision could change a lot, right? It'll show us what he's prioritizing. And obviously it's not everything. He could go play the national team and still win a championship later on, and this will all be for nothing. However, this is what we're gonna do, is speculate, right? Because this is all the information that we have. But yes, I do agree. He's very close. He's gonna start teetering, right? And he's really young too. Let's give him that. But for Kyrie Irving, is Kyrie Irving enough as your second best player? And I'll repeat, probably not. And I think this is really simple, right? Because if we look at Kyrie Irving on those Cleveland Cavaliers teams, if it was just him and LeBron James and the rest of those guys, it probably wouldn't have been enough anyway. Kevin Love was the person that, in my opinion, like, he tightened everything up, because he was a big that now took away the other team's bigs, because he could stick in the corner and shoot threes. And not to mention the fact that he was a 20 and 15 guy, 25 and 15 guy on the Minnesota Timberwolves. He wasn't a role player. He wasn't a fill-in guy. He was a legitimate all-star. And the Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks currently don't have another all-star as their third option, because that's how it's always worked for Kyrie Irving, right? My complaint about Kyrie Irving has always been, if you use the eye test, you'd say, oh my God, this guy's one of the fucking 5-10 best players in the league. And then you go look at his stats, and it's 22 a game, 23 a game. Got it up some years to 25, 27. But it always left you kind of wanting more when you look at his numbers, because you're like, fuck. When you see him have some of these incredible passing games, you're like, shit, well, if you're going to average 22, 23 points, like, get 9 assists. Right? Or if you're going to average 4 or 5 assists, go get 30 points. But I think his style of play, where he's always trying to make the right play, has hurt him. Right? He's never been a player that's going to force a bunch of shots, force himself to get into a rhythm the way we see scorers typically handle and manage games, right? I saw Carmelo Anthony day in and day out for the New York Knicks, and I can tell you right now, that motherfucker was trying to score 20 points every first quarter. And there were a lot of first quarters where he did that. And to nobody's surprise, he was always in rhythm, because the motherfucker was going to shoot it. And I feel like Kyrie Irving, you want to call it a motor, you want to call it an aggression, he's just never been that. I guess he's sages. He's all about peace. I guess it's not in his personality. If we look at his personality, if we really dissect his personality and who he is, he's this really peaceful guy, kumbaya, loves people, respects people. He has this side of him that's super competitive, but he's not someone that taps into that for 48 minutes of a basketball game. At least not the person that's trying to kill you, right? That's in him too. He's a great player, but that person that's a little crazy, that'll just fucking do shit to, like, just to do it, sometimes I feel like I wish he had more of that in his personality, because he would go and do certain things a little bit differently, but it's just never been him. And moving forward, if we're to take into account what we've seen work for Kyrie Irving in the past, they're going to need a third all-star. He may be getting too peaceful. Well, Elijah, the other part too is I think he's always been peaceful, but now he's what, 34? Like, it's just a totally different... It's just 32. Yeah, he's 32 now. Like, yeah, all that stuff is great, and I understand his experience has helped his game get better also, but at the same time, when you're just talking about physically trying to take on some of these guys, it's just difficult. And I think they're going to need a third all-star to get over the hump, because obviously Luka and Kyrie were enough to get into the NBA Finals, but now they're missing a punch, right? And they need to go and pack a punch to be able to compete. So is Kyrie Irving enough? I think he's shown that he's a really, really great player, but when it comes to winning championships and titles, he is not enough in the long run. And they're going to need another all-star to help out him and Luka. And that's no disrespect. That's not a shot. That's... Hell, LeBron needed 2 all-stars. Right? Like, let's not... Hall of Fame, like, let's not get it twisted. Everyone needs help. And unfortunately for the Dallas Mavericks, they came up short just because I don't think they had enough talent with them.